We are here to attend a talk session organized by the Placement Cell of MBITS regarding the opportunities in Indian Armed Force and Navy. Our resource person for the day is Commander Manoj Kumar. So first of all, let me welcome Jenny Sir, the Placement Officer of MBITS, for the welcome speech. Sir, please.
Principal will introduce Commander Sir. Let me just welcome him. Welcome sir to our campus. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny Sir. Now I invite our respected Principal Dr. T. Sojanlal Sir for the Southern Naval Command at Kochi and is presently Senior Naval Constructor Overseer of the indigenous aircraft carrier being built at Kochi Shipyard. He has also completed courses conducted by Welding Research Institute at Trichy, NACE Houston, Defense Finance Management at New Delhi. He is also a member of the Institute of Naval Architects. Commander Manoj Kumar Sir was awarded the Flag Officer Commanding in Chief for his meritorious service and devotion to duty. He has been conducting career guidance talk at schools and colleges voluntarily and sharing his experience to create awareness and encourage more and more students to take up Indian Navy as a career. Sir, please enlighten us with your knowledge.
Very good afternoon to all of you. Respected Dr. Sojanlal Sir, Principal, MBITS, Jenti Sir, all other faculty members present, and my dear friends. It actually gives me immense honor to be present here amongst you. And there is a feeling of nostalgia also whenever you're back to college. You feel that you're not younger by about a few years. As you have already heard our little friend telling us that I finished my college way back in 2000, which is about 23 years back. Today I am here to just give you an overview about what armed forces means, what is the importance of joining or considering armed forces as a career option. I will also be touching upon what are the various wings of the armed force, the basic difference between Indian Navy, Coast Guard, Merchant Navy, because see, these are all the doubts I'm sure each one of you may be having. So I would try and see that in my next 45 minutes to 1 hour, I can try and at least give you some overview and insight and clear some of your doubts. And thereafter I'll continue to be available through email or mobile. I can give my email ID and mobile number with sir, so that you can please be free and contact me for any further doubts that you have or clarifications that you have. I'll just start off with this presentation now. There's a small video which will be played. Can you please move ahead? Yeah. Indian Armed Force. I'll just give you an overview about what Indian Armed Force is. See, Indian Armed Force primarily is divided into military, paramilitary and Central Armed Reserve Police Force. So you must be familiar with a lot of other, so I'll cover one by one. Military is primarily the Army, Indian Air Force and Indian Navy. This is basically the military, which constitutes the military, which is under the Ministry of Defense. And as you're all aware, the President of the country is the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. So all the military, Army, Navy and Air Force wings, they all report through their chiefs to the Supreme Commander, which is the President of the country. The paramilitary, you must have heard, these are the Assam Rifles or Frontier Force, including the Coast Guard. They are all paramilitary forces. They come under the Ministry of Home Affairs, except the Coast Guard, which is handled by the Ministry of Defence, MOD. And there are something called the Central Armed Reserve Police Force, which is to augment the military, and we have Border Security Force, which is guarding the international borders between Pakistan, India, China, right? We have the Central Reserve Police Force. We have the Indo-Tibetan Border Force, which is specifically for the India and the Tibetan border, the China border. Central Industrial Security Force, they actually guard all our industrial establishments. Public sector establishments are all guarded, or security cover is given by CISF. And there is a Sashastra Sena Bal is also there. This all comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. And who is heading our Ministry of Home Affairs as of now? Anybody? Sri Amit Shah. And who is our Defence Minister? That's right. So this is a broad classification of the armed forces, which I am sure many of you would be having some doubts. So I think this should clear this.
Yes, sir.
Now, if you go into Indian Navy in particular, what is the difference between Indian Navy, the Merchant Navy, and Coast Guard? Coast Guard, the charter is only the exclusive economic zone. There is a zone which is about 200 nautical miles. What is our coastline? It's about 7,500 kilometers, right? Starting from Gujarat all the way to West Bengal. That coastline distance is about 7,500 kilometers. Now this coast, along the coast, if you take 200 nautical miles from the coast to the sea, that is the area which is to be guarded by the Coast Guard. Right? What is Merchant Navy? Merchant Navy's charter is purely commercial. Merchant Navy is basically for transportation of men and material from place A to place B all over the world. So they are not actually armed forces. So this is the basic difference between the Coast Guard, the Merchant Navy, and Indian Navy. Indian Navy has a pan-world presence, which I will be covering in detail. Can we move ahead, please? The audio.
Progress are moving fast. The Indian Navy, a young, modern and potent force, partner in this progress, always ready and vigilant to deter, defeat and dissuade any seaborne threat. India's prosperity depends on a peaceful and secure environment. The Indian Navy has a job to do, ensuring maritime security necessary for the nation's progress. Indian Ocean sea lanes, vital to India's economic prospects. Over 90% of our trade by volume and 70% by value is through the sea route.
The Indian Ocean region has emerged as the world's center of gravity in the maritime domain. India is a maritime nation with vast maritime interests, which have a vital relationship with the nation's economic growth, and the security umbrella for these maritime interests is provided by the Indian Navy. In the past year, the Navy has maintained an extremely high operational tempo and emerged as a multi-dimensional network force which is combat ready to take on any challenge in the maritime domain in the 21st century.
instability in some parts of the world continues. The Indian Navy is ready to take the rough and ride the waves with ease, ever ready to respond for the safety of our diaspora in other countries. Evacuating Indians from Yemen, INS Mumbai, INS Tarkash and INS Sumitra go into harm's way to help our citizens in distress. The Indian Navy helping our friends by keeping the powder dry, always ready to respond. The Indian Navy, deployed everywhere for the defense of our maritime interests, has taken off mission ready in the sky and on the sea. The Indian Navy, a multi-dimensional, multi-spectrum network force, surges ahead. State-of-the-art warships, submarines, and aircrafts with unbeatable technology. The Indian Navy has transformed into a net-centric force. High-tech command and control centers integrate sensors, imagery, intelligence, and data. There is complete domain awareness 24/7 of the entire region. Nothing at sea, even in its vast expanse, now goes unnoticed. The Navy is a powerful force. No challenge at sea can deter them. Quick to respond, decisive in action. A force of good. A force to fear. Pirates who seek to hijack ships are defeated by marine commandos, a fearsome special force. These battle-hardened, fearless commandos are trained for unconventional warfare. Counter-terrorism, hostage rescue, and offensive covert operations. They fear no one. Tough, resolute, unforgiving. Ships, submarines, aircraft. Their professional crews train hard, train true. We train as we would fight. Through live exercises and drills. The Theatre Operational Readiness Exercise is played out every year for nearly 1 month, with the entire Navy participating. All types of ships, aircraft, submarines, both conventional and nuclear, special forces, as also Coast Guard, Air Force, and the Army, battle-hardened even before the action begins. The Indian Navy, silent, unseen, lethal. To deter, to defeat those who challenge. Times have changed. We are in an age of rapid development, of self-reliance, of self-belief and faith in our own capabilities. The new focus, capability development through indigenization. Indigenous warship construction gathers pace.
The blueprint for the future Indian Navy is firmly anchored on self-reliance and indigenization. It is a matter of great pride that over the years we have transformed from a buyer's navy to a builder's navy. Today, we have 47 ships and submarines under construction, all of them in Indian shipyards, both public and private. We have promulgated a science and technology roadmap in consultation with the DRDO for the next 15 years. We have also outlined our indigenization plan and shared it with the industry. It is our endeavor to progressively increase the indigenous content so that future warships and submarines can be 100% made in India.
New ships are commissioned and launched. Public and private sectors work hand in hand to build top-class naval hardware. Technology transfers and indigenous technology supplement each other. A transformation is underway. The Indian Navy has always led the way in indigenous warship construction. The Indian Navy conceptualizes, designs and builds highly complex technology aircraft carriers using world-class facilities at our shipyards. Aircraft carrier Vikram, developed and made in India, personifies Indian Navy's self-confidence. Can Do has made way for Yes We Did It. The Indian Navy also partners with smaller shipyards to build craft and equipment for the Navy. We promote Make in India. Forward Naval Base INS Sardar Patel in Gujarat and a missile facility INS Vajrakosh in Karnataka have been recently commissioned. INS Kolkata, INS Gamorta, INS Kochi and many smaller ISVs were commissioned in the recent past. The more you sweat in peace, the less you bleed in war. Young, ambitious, intelligent, our officer, cadet and sailor trainees go through a rigorous physical and academic training. Men in white being trained for combat, realistic training on simulators and in live exercises. No challenge is too big for them. Trained to perfection in the academy, ready to deliver. Disciplined and dedicated. Instilling the spirit of adventure at sea and in the sky. From the mountains to underwater. There is never a dull moment. So many opportunities to choose from for the entire naval family. The Indian Navy participates enthusiastically in the Swachh Bharat campaign. Yoga gets a fresh impetus across the Navy on ships at sea and ashore. Preserving the environment, promoting green initiatives. This is the Navy's thrust area. The new Karwar base is environmental friendly and has implemented several green measures. It will also be the Navy's first smart base in future. The naval family leads a healthy lifestyle. Quality of life and welfare gets top attention. They get the latest and the best medical facilities 24/7. The Navy Wives Welfare Association cares for children and families of the men. Imparting vocational training to ladies to empower them for a better life, a better future. Conducting classes for differently abled for charity and other community activities. building bridges of friendship with other friendly countries, engaging with more than 40 navies through port visits and exercises. The Indian Navy has developed excellent Navy-to-Navy relations with all major maritime countries. International shipping is now much safer from piracy in the Arabian Sea. The relentless efforts of the Indian Navy in close cooperation with other navies have paid off handsomely. India's influence through closer cooperation with global navies to strengthen our maritime security. The Navy's diplomatic role has seen steady progress, expanding cooperation with smaller island countries in the region, helping, empowering.
All this, we need a strong maritime force to safeguard all this. Next, please. Now, this is what our strength is, approximately about 150 odd warships, 250 odd aircrafts, and Navy, apart from the Army and the Air Force, we are a multi-dimensional force. We stand out. How we stand out? We have got capabilities undersea, we have got capabilities above sea and in the air. Next. Every officer appointed in the Navy is by the President of India. There is a gazette which has been handed over. I was fortunate to receive a signed copy from then late Dr. K.R. Narayanan way back in 97. Next. The organizational structure of the Navy, we have the Chief of the Naval Staff who is based in Delhi, and we have the 3 Commander-in-Chiefs based in Mumbai, for the West Coast, Vizag, the East Coast, and Kochi here in the Southern Coast. As described, can we move ahead? The Southern Naval Command of the Navy is primarily a training command. So the training is imparted for various expertise in the Navy. Yeah, please move ahead. Electrical engineering training happens in Jamnagar in Gujarat. Please keep going ahead. Logistics in Mumbai. Next. Mechanical engineering happens in Lonavala off Pune. There is a Naval War College where the higher management leadership training happens in Goa. We have the largest academy in Asia, which is located in Kannur in Erimala. We have various other trainings happening in Kochi itself, in the naval base here. The submarine-related training happens in Visakhapatnam in the East Coast. And sailors training happens in Chilka in Odisha. There is a Tri-Services Command which is based in Port Blair. Tri-Services Joint Command is the only one of its kind as of now in the country. What are the roles of the Navy? Navy is not just limited to being a force which is ready for military or for the war. It has various other roles to play. Diplomatic role, as the name suggests, we need to maintain a good relationship with various other countries, with their navies. We have at least about 45 to 50 other countries' navies sending their officers and sailors for training here in Kochi. Constabulary is basically to support the government of India and the state government to maintain law and order, but though it is largely limited to the police, but then the armed forces also pitch in when there is a requirement which comes in. Then of course, providing a helping hand. You must have seen the armed forces actively involved. The floods which happened in 2018 is a classic example where Navy was involved. I understand ND sir told me one of the officers who were airlifted, one lady was in the very advanced stages of pregnancy. She was airlifted to the Naval Hospital. I think that officer was also here. He had visited the college here last year. That's right. So these are the various roles which the armed forces play. Next. The basic branch structure in the Navy. Next, please. There's an executive branch, marine engineering branch. Yep, you can go ahead. Electrical, engineering. There is an education branch which trains the trainees, and there is a medical branch. Now, executive branch is further subdivided. Gunnery and missile. So these are specializations within the executive branch. Navigation, basically for the navigating the ship and the submarine. The anti-submarine warfare operations, launching of torpedoes. Communication, we have our own satellite, dedicated satellite. Next, aviation, we have various types of fixed and rotary wing aircraft which are being flown by our aviation officers. The submarine branch, the marine commandos, which is an elite force. Marine commandos also present in Leh. You are aware of the Pangong Lake, where we still continue to have issues with China. So we have marine commandos there. And the hydrographers. Next. We have law branch. Logistics basically caters for administration and the logistics management, material management. Air traffic controllers. The Naval Armament Inspectorate, basically they are controllers of the stocking of the armaments, various types of armaments. And the information technology. We have one of the most advanced IT infrastructure in amongst all other forces. The technical branch which I just mentioned, naval architecture, which the branch which I belong to, we have all these technical branches wherein students are picked up after 12th standard. That is one type of an entry called the permanent entry. They are given their BTech degrees, and then thereafter those who are excelling, they are also sent for their MTechs to various IITs. We also have an entry like for you people wherein you complete your BTech and then you are taken into the armed forces, and thereafter the basic training in Naval Academy. Thereafter, basically based on your skill set and basic your performance, you could be given a higher education opportunity. And you could serve the armed forces for 10 years, extendable to 14 years. That I will also be covering a little later. Next, please. In the armed forces and Navy in particular, we have a continued growth wherein there are courses. We have mid-career courses happening. We are having various short courses and longer courses for which people are sent. And there are MTechs for students who are, say, about 10 to 15% of them are picked up for MTech. So there is a continuous value addition which is happening as you grow in service. Next. The education branch, who train the under trainees, they take classes for students, the officer cadets in the Naval Academy and in Chilka. Next. Next, please. We've already covered this. Yeah, next. INS Vikramaditya. This is the aircraft carrier which we had acquired from Russia. Now, presently, the project in which I am involved is indigenous aircraft carrier, which is the largest aircraft carrier or warship ever built in the last 5,000 years in our country. So, which is certainly a matter of pride for our country. And telling you a little more about this ship, which I think the video must have already been shown to you. Yeah. This ship is like a floating city. You can imagine 2,300 odd compartments with 1,700 capacity who can stay on board, they can dine on board. They have all the facilities including hospital with operation theatre. We have a full-fledged hangar which can accommodate about 700 to 800 personnel. There's a galley facility which is having automated facility. You have chapati making machine which can make 1,000 chapatis in about 5 minutes. So I mean that is the kind of automation that we have on board. And the mix, there are about 20 mix which can take off and land on these decks. So this is the kind of facility that we have built up, and in fact there are 30 aircrafts including MiGs and the rotary winged helicopters which can be stored both on the decks as well as in the hangar down below. So this ship is going to be dedicated to the nation very soon, so you will all be seeing this happening probably in the next 1 month. Next please. These are the destroyer class of ships. So basically here I am just showing you what are the assets which the Navy has, where one of you probably could be serving on board. Yeah, next. The frigates. These are various types of aircraft, warships and aircraft which I'll also be covering, and submarines, which you can Google, you can check this. There are classification based on their size and capability. Missile boats. Next. Yeah, these are the MiG-29 fighters. This can land and take off from the aircraft carriers at sea, both from land and from the ship. Next. Long-range aircrafts. Different types of helicopters. The nuclear powered submarines also being built in our country now. Arihant was the first nuclear powered submarine to be designed and built in our country. We are, I think, probably in the only 4 or 5 countries in the whole world which can do this. Yeah, these are some of the photographs of the life at sea. The helicopter approaching the helideck for landing. Next. This is a man transfer happening. We call it replenishment at sea. At a 30-meter distance, the ships maintain the same speed, and then we transfer men and material. We do fueling at sea. The ships are moving. Next. Operation of boats. Diving operations. Rifle training happening at sea. Some sports. This is a flight deck of the aircraft carrier. Yeah, next. Branch, yeah, we have the pilots and we have the observers. Observers basically are the ones who are operating and keeping a watch on the radars and giving a support to the pilots. So every aircraft we are supposed to be having a pilot along with an observer. Next. A typical submarine. Any submarine predominantly they can go up to 300 meters below the sea level. That is a water-based level, and they can sustain there. The sustenance depends on the endurance of the men. If it is a nuclear-powered submarine, they don't even have to come up. They can continue to remain there even for months together. But it all depends on the endurance of the person who are there. Otherwise, if it is a diesel electric driven propulsion, they will have to come to 9-meter depth just below the surface, so that they can hoist their mast and take in fresh air. You are aware we require air to run our diesel generators and diesel engines, right? So for that purpose, they come to the 9-meter depth, which is called periscopic depth. They take this air, and then when they submerge, they change over to electric propulsion, and then they continue to remain down below, and as and when they have a requirement to recharge, they again come up. Yeah, next. Marine commandos, as I mentioned. Please go ahead. Next, please. The various types of activities which we get an opportunity for, various adventure activities. Next. Yeah. I'm just covering various major armed forces training academies all over the country. This is the largest naval training academy in Asia, as I brought out, in Edimala. I think close to 3,000 acres of land there. That is the area which we are talking about. Next, please. Various activities in Edimala. Next. This is one of the oldest tri-services training academy in the world. This is in Pune, National Defence Academy. This year, it is making history. 19 girls after 12 have been inducted into the Naval Academy for the first time. So this is again a very big thing for the country. So which means hereafter, girls can join the armed forces after 12th standard. Till now, it was only after graduation. Dandigal in Hyderabad, this is an Air Force Academy. Very recently there was a picture, I'll show that photograph, father and daughter. Who saw it? Did anybody take note of it? How many of you read newspapers in the morning? Okay, I'll come to it, the importance of updating yourself on a daily basis. This is another Army Training Academy which is in Gaya in Bihar. Next. Chennai, there is an Officers Training Academy, again for the this is for the Air Force. Okay, now coming to how to join the armed forces. I'm talking about the officer's entry. It talks about the academic qualification which is primary. For your 12th, now this is of course for you, it is what is applicable is after BTech, but then I'm still covering post 12th also I have covered in this presentation. And some of the age and physical requirements which I have covered here. And this holds good for those joining after BTech also. The height, physical fitness, etc. Next. Yeah. Service Selection Board interview. Next please. This is mandatory for anybody to join armed forces, whether it is Army, Air Force or the Navy. As an officer, you will have to clear this interview. The Service Selection Board, they are located all over the country and they are separate for the Army, for the Air Force and the Navy. But the pattern for selection is the same. So which means, now in case, in your case, you are all, most of your third years. What is Service Selection Board? It has got a multi-pronged selection which they do. I'm just broadly telling you, I will not go into the details. On the first day you have a aptitude test by which they filter. They will give you a written test, you will have to finish it in a given time and automatically the computer will generate the result and shortlist few others. The first day those who don't make it will have to leave, those who have made it will have to stay back. Certainly recommend one of these books like Manovarma. Your book is one very good book which I personally have been reading through. Have anybody gone through this Manovarma?